Whiteman Air Force Base, Knob Noster, Missouri. In the middle of the night, no announcement, no press release, no warning, a B-2 Spirit stealth bomber taxied onto the runway, lifted into the darkness, and disappeared. Not metaphorically, literally disappeared, from radar, from tracking systems, from every sensor Iran had pointed at the sky. 36 hours later, something hit Iran. Here is what makes that sentence extraordinary. The B-2 did not launch from a base in Qatar, or Bahrain, or a carrier in the Persian Gulf. It launched from central Missouri. It flew across the Atlantic, refueled in the air without landing, transited Europe and the Middle East, and struck targets in Iran, targets that Iranian engineers specifically built to be immune to this scenario, and then it flew home. The crew that dropped those bombs slept in their own beds that night. The B-2 Spirit is the most expensive operational aircraft ever built, $2.1 billion per airframe at program cost. The U.S. Air Force operates 20 of them, the entire global fleet, based at one location. They can reach any target on the surface of the Earth within hours. They carry weapons that no other aircraft is large enough to deliver, and Iran has known about them for decades, has studied them, has built its air defense network with them in mind, has spent years and billions of dollars developing the Bavar 373 air defense system, Iran's domestically built answer to the Russian S-300, specifically claiming it can detect aircraft like the B-2. That claim just got tested. Picture what this looks like from inside an Iranian Air Defense Command Center. Your radar screens show nothing. Your early warning systems show nothing. And then the strike reports start coming in. Facilities that your commanders told you were protected, that your engineers told you were unreachable, that your leadership publicly declared were immune. You were wrong. The B-2 got through. The question is not just what it hit. The question is what its arrival, undetected, from Missouri, means for everything Iran thought was safe. To understand why the B-2 is so difficult to counter, you have to understand what radar actually detects, and what stealth actually means at a physics level. Radar works by emitting a pulse of electromagnetic energy and waiting for that energy to bounce back. The stronger the return, the larger the target appears to be. The size of that return is called the radar cross-section, and it is the single most important number in the stealth equation. A commercial airliner has a radar cross-section of roughly 100 square meters. An F-16 is around 5 square meters. A conventional bomber, depending on orientation, might be 1 to 2. These numbers make them easy to track. Your radar sees them, locks onto them, and your fire control system begins calculating an intercept solution. The B-2's radar cross-section is estimated at 0.0001 square meters, the size of a large insect. This is not just about the flying wing shape, though that shape is specifically engineered to deflect radar energy away from its source, rather than bounce it back toward the transmitter. It is also about the surface materials. The B-2 is coated in radar-absorbing material that converts radar energy into heat instead of reflecting it. Even the engine intakes are carefully shaped to prevent radar from reaching the turbine blades, which would otherwise create a distinctive radar return. The exhaust is engineered to mix hot gas with cold air before it exits, minimizing the infrared signature that heat-seeking sensors would look for. The result, Iran's radar network, optimized and funded to defend against cruise missiles, fighter jets, and conventional strike aircraft, was looking for an aircraft the size of a bus. The B-2 registered as nothing at all. Iran's Bavar 373 was specifically designed to close this gap. Iranian military engineers, and they are not incompetent, they have real expertise, built a system using long-wavelength radar frequencies that handle stealth coatings less efficiently. The longer the wavelength, the larger the features that affect radar return, and the less effective the B-2's surface treatment becomes. This is a real technical concept that real engineers designed a real system around. And yet, the B-2 got through. Either the Bavar 373 detected something it couldn't track precisely enough to engage, or it detected nothing at all. Either answer is catastrophic for Iran's air defense credibility, because the entire doctrine of building these systems is that they protect what's behind them. And tonight, what was behind the Bavar 373 got hit. The weapon the B-2 carries that no other aircraft in the world can deliver is the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator. 30,000 pounds, 14 meters long, designed for exactly one target type, hardened, deeply buried facilities that conventional weapons cannot reach. Iran has spent 20 years building its most critical military infrastructure underground. This was not an accident or cost-saving measure. It was a deliberate strategic choice made specifically because Iran's planners knew that surface facilities could be destroyed by US air power. So they went underground. The Fordo nuclear enrichment facility sits under a mountain near Qom. 90 meters of rock overhead, because Iranian engineers calculated that burial depth would make it immune to conventional airstrikes. Natanz has deep underground centrifuge halls. Command and control bunkers are buried across multiple provinces. Missile production facilities are dug into hillsides. The entire strategy rested on one assumption, that burial depth was a form of immunity, that if you went deep enough, you were safe. The GBU-57 was built specifically to test that assumption. Now picture what it looks like from inside one of those underground facilities. You are in a room that was built specifically because it is supposed to be immune to airstrikes. The concrete above you is meters thick. The rock above that is tens of meters more. Your commanders told you this facility cannot be reached, and then you feel the impact. The message sent by the GBU-57's use is not simply, "We can hit you." Every US cruise missile already sent that message. What the GBU-57 says is something more specific and more devastating. The infrastructure you buried because you believed it was unreachable, the facilities your entire strategic deterrence rests on, is reachable. There is nowhere you built that is actually safe. The physical damage from a B-2 strike matters, but the deeper loss is doctrinal, and doctrinal losses are the kind that don't repair themselves. Iran's deterrence posture for the last 2 decades has rested on a specific architecture: harden the critical assets underground, disperse forces across the country to prevent a single decisive strike, maintain proxies that can threaten US partners if Iran itself is hit, and make the cost of a full invasion prohibitive. The calculation was, you can hit us, but you can't reach everything. You can damage us, but you can't stop us. The underground infrastructure survives. The program continues. The B-2 with GBU-57 breaks that architecture at every level simultaneously. It reaches the underground facilities. Demonstrably, it reaches them without warning and without local staging, meaning Iran cannot pressure regional partners to deny the US basing access. It can reach them again in 36 hours, and it can do this from Whiteman, Missouri, which is not on any Iranian target list, and is not reachable by any Iranian ballistic missile currently in service. Iran cannot shoot down what it cannot see, cannot threaten a base that is in Central America, cannot hold American pilots at personal risk when the aircraft disappears back into the darkness before Iranian commanders have finished reading the first damage report. And the proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Iraqi militias, the network Iran spent 40 years building and funding precisely for this scenario, cannot counter any of this. They can threaten American troops in the region. They cannot threaten Whiteman Air Force Base. They cannot find the submarines. They cannot stop the Aegis destroyers. The proxy network is Iran's most important strategic asset, and it has no answer for a weapon launched from Missouri at a target buried 90 meters underground. Iran is now making decisions under conditions it did not fully plan for, and the options are worse than they were 72 hours ago. Tehran's air defenses failed the test they were built to pass. Its underground infrastructure, the strategic asset it considered most protected, the foundation of its entire deterrence posture, has been demonstrated to be reachable. Its deterrence posture, the architecture it built over 20 years to make a US military campaign too costly to complete, has been directly challenged. The options that remain are not good. Retaliation means absorbing another round of strikes with air defenses that have already been penetrated once. Escalating through proxies invites responses against the proxy networks themselves, and those networks are already under pressure. Attempting to close the Strait of Hormuz means committing the IRGC Navy against a force that is not operating under the rules of engagement it was operating under 3 weeks ago. There is one thing Iran still has: ballistic missiles, hundreds of them, the Shahab series, Imad, Fatah 1, the hypersonic variant Iran has been developing, enough volume, if fired simultaneously at US regional bases, to test those bases' air defenses. But firing those missiles depletes an inventory Iran cannot quickly rebuild. And the bases those missiles are aimed at are defended by exactly the layered system the US has spent 30 years and hundreds of billions of dollars constructing: Aegis destroyers, THAAD batteries, Patriot PAC-3 installations at every major installation. The B-2 got through. The question Tehran is answering right now, in rooms we don't have cameras in, is whether Iran fires the missiles, and whether firing them changes anything.